What up, everyone? You know who I am. I'm Jack Slater, aka the Comic Outlaw. Yeah! God, it feels good to be back. And you know how it is, how we do. We do a little movie review, we do a little talk, we do a little this, we do a little that. And always out there, check out the other videos by me, Comic Outlaw, and the other outlaws that I tend to have on the show every once in a while. Yeah. Come on, man, let's get together, let's get it moving, man. Oh, yeah. I want the outlaw nation to spread, man, like a virus. But anyways, we are talking about classic movies, and I happen to have one. Now, everyone knows Denzel Washington and Russell Crowe. I mean, their accolades speak for themselves. I mean, Denzel Washington has won a lot of awards over the years, and as has Russell Crowe, for many different performances. But this movie was before all that. Back in the 90s, 95, 94, when it was shot, you know, like right around then, production, you know, it came out in 95. It's Virtuosity. And what makes this movie so interesting is that it gives these guys a chance to actually give themselves sort of an introduction on the screen. Now, Denzel Washington, this is before Training Day. This is before a lot of the movies that would get him attention by Hollywood. Glory, for example. And this is before Russell Crowe did Gladiator. Now, this movie has VR in it. And for a long time, VR sort of disappeared, and now it's back in a sudden resurgence. It just popped out of nowhere again. So VR is virtual, where you can kind of see stuff, and you know, you're in a video game. Basically, it gives you the feeling of being in a video game. Where I've never had to go that far to get shot at, have someone try to attack me with a lightsaber, or have robots go boom boom, pew 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 pew. I travel multiverses. I am a video game. But this one was interesting. This one's in the future. And in the future, they're using this virtual program, and they're using prisoners, former cops, or just tough prisoners, and they're sending them through this virtual simulator to fight Sid. Russell Crowe's part right there. And Sid stands for sadistic, intelligent, dangerous. And he's Sid 2.0. Yes. The reason they call him 2.0 is they had to build him like a computer program. They took 200 personalities of the most evil motherfuckers you could think of. Ted Bundy. Charles Manson. Gacy. You know, they took all the greatest hits of me and just squeezed them together. And they also took a killer named Matt Grimes, a political killer. That will come into play later. But anyways, Sid's favorite opponent is a man named Parker Barnes, who is played by Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington, was a former cop. Oh, spoilers. I'm sorry, everyone. Plug your ears. Spoilers. Is a former cop who ended up going to jail because this guy named Matt Grimes, see, I told you he'd come back, ended up killing his wife and kid and blowing up his arm. He tried to stop it, basically. He stuck his arm in and BAM! So he has a metal arm, a robotic arm. And he's Sid's favorite opponent. Now Sid is starting to branch out and kill people in the game. He's not supposed to. And after the death of one of the inmates, they decide to shut him down. But the creator, the man who created Sid, has other plans. So he goes and talks to this guy who is experimenting with silicon bodies, basically with animals, props, stuff from movies, you know, like that's basically what they're thinking about using it for. And he gets the idea of taking Sid's program and making a silicon body for him. But he tricks the guy because he has a female program, and the guy, listening to his pecker, instead of his brain, decides to help the mad scientist out. And so he The mad scientist does the old switcheroo, puts in Sid, Sid appears. Now, the interesting thing about this body is that you can cut a limb off, or you can take a lot of damage. And all you gotta do is punch some glass, eat some glass, be around it, and absorbs into him, and it makes a new hand or a new chest or whatever it needs to make. So the body is self-sustaining as long as there's glass around. Very interesting. So Sid basically has a killer personality with a body that can heal itself, and he's let loose on the world. And this man is an insane motherfucker, man. My goddamn. There's a scene, and it's probably one of my favorite scenes of all time, where he's in a nightclub and he's conducting a symphony of people screaming and crying and whining, and he's like, scream, scream, and everyone's screaming at different tones and stuff like that. It is just awesome. And of course, Parker Barnes, Denzel Washington, realizes that Matt Grimes is part of the personality. Sid also realizes this too. And he actually ends up framing and then freeing Parker Barnes, because Parker Barnes is a prisoner, and they put a bomb in his... Of course, there's always a bomb in someone's head when they set him free. And so they put a bomb in his head. And of course he gets out, they stop the bomb, he goes after Sid, a fight ensues. And this is just one of those movies where the effects were really good for the time, and still good till like even now. I know it was made in the 90s, but it's very interesting how this movie kind of has lasted over the years. The villain is supreme. Denzel Washington does a good job as a tortured cop. Man, I wonder if he played that role afterwards. And it stars a young Kelly Kuko. Yes, the girl from Big Bang, Little Penny. Little Penny was indeed little. She played the daughter of the doctor that was taking care of Denzel Washington. It was one of her first roles that she actually got. It was one of the first roles that she actually really got as a kid. So yes, even Penny from Big Bang, one of the other big movies in the pantheon of geekdom, she's in it too as a little person. Like I said, this movie had a lot of star power, whether it knew it or not. And yeah, this movie is just one of those, a maniac is let loose. Someone has to stop him, the reluctant hero. And Denzel Washington does a great job as Parker Barnes. He does a good job of keeping the character grounded. He plays well off of Sid's insanity, because he's more of the hard-nosed, hard-ass, I want revenge cop. Sort of like the Batman, I guess you could say, to Russell Crowe's insane Joker. This movie has a lot going for it. I mean, I've watched it over and over again, and it's one of those movies that just screams insanity. And it's interesting that VR is actually coming back now, after all these years, because VR had become a joke in the early 2000s. Because in the 90s, they were experimenting with it. They made movies like Lawnmower Man, saying it's going to be the future of video games, it's going to be the future of this and that. And it just kind of fizzled out. And now it's starting to make a comeback with the jumps in technology. VR has become actually very fun for people. People have been playing VR video games now for a few years. So how far away are we from the police testing out a new killer, or making their own killer and sending people through to see if they get out alive? And what happens when that creation gets out and decides that he wants to play in town? There's a lot of gunplay in this, and there's actually, the UFC actually makes an appearance in this, because this is when the UFC was first starting out. And like I said, the UFC wasn't the juggernaut that it is now. So yes, even the UFC makes an appearance in this movie. This movie has a little bit of everything. Sid is kind of a media horror, that's the best way to put it. When he likes killing people, he likes killing people on television. And it leads into the ending where he decides to start his own TV show called Murder TV, I think. And of course, Denzel stops him with a little. I don't want to exactly tell you why or how, because I want you to see the movie. Check it out, Virtuosity. And look, they look young in that movie. Huh? If you compare a picture of them now, check out the back. Yes, this little handy dandy gem. I actually watched it a few days ago, and I was like, wow, I have to do a show about this. I mean, you know me, I love a good villain. Man, Russell Crowe is off the chain. I could see why they sort of thought when the rumors started coming around about Joker, or when Joker's name was brought up in the conversation later after the Tim Burton movies, that Russell Crowe was considered, because Russell Crowe plays an insane fucker in this movie. And like I said, him and Denzel are just neck and neck. They do a great job at keeping each other balanced. They play off of each other really well. Like I said, there's a nice little appearance from Penny from Big Bang in it. It's, as a kid actor. So this movie has a lot going for it. And it's very interesting that she ended up becoming, how things connect, that she ended up becoming a big star on Big Bang Theory, which is basically one of those sci-fi mechas. And they never mention this movie, which is odd. You think like they would have did like a little wink or something like that, but never. I guess it goes to show that sometimes things get lost in the shuffle. I highly recommend this movie. Like I said, it came out around 95. And it's one of those great classic 90s movies. It has a lot of bang bang. It has a lot going for it. The story is actually interesting. It grips you. The killer is very entertaining. I mean, he's not one of those stiff as a board killers. Very animated. Like I said, Denzel does a great job as Parker Barnes. I know it's a weird name. He really keeps the movie grounded. And you need an actor to kind of keep a movie grounded with all these high-flying themes and, sci-fi, mischief. So I recommend this movie. This movie's really good. And you get to see two actors strut their stuff before they became internationally famous. Yeah. So if you want a classic throwback with two really good actors that were just finding their footing, with a really good story, I recommend Virtuosity. I'm going to give you guys another little check out. Rent the movie. Check it out. It's worth watching at least once. You'll have a good time watching it. It's one of those movies you kick back and just watch. It's one of those action movies you can enjoy. Action, sci-fi. It has a little bit of everything in it. And the special effects with Sid's body healing is very interesting. So, this is the Comic Outlaw, giving you another recommendation. Virtuosity, Denzel Washington, Russell Crowe. Young little Miss Penny has a few scenes. She actually does a decent job. And also, I recommend this movie. It's rated R, a lot of bloodshed, so it's not exactly for the kiddies. Well, who knows nowadays, right? What everyone's exposed to and what they're not exposed to, I don't even know. But anyways, this is a good classic movie. If you want a good romp, like I said, to see two actors before they really hit their stride in Hollywood, it's worth watching. And as always, I'm Jack Slater, the Comic Outlaw. And I want you guys to spread the word, man, in the Outlaw Nation. Let's get things going, man. Yeah, I know we're a tribe right now, but I want a nation of us. Can't you see it? I can. And as always, I'm Jack Slater. And I'll catch you on the flip side.